Welcome back. We begin our next episode of the virtual 68th Annual Florida Folk Festival with Del Suggs and friends. Del is a singer and songwriter who's performed at the Florida Folk Festival since 1982. A sixth-generation Florida native, his original saltwater music style is recognized as a pioneering forerunner to today's trop rock genre. Think Jimmy Buffett or Kenny Chesney. Here, his ensemble performs When Everything's Coming Up Roses, Rick's Standing in the Rain, and Danica Winter's Paradise on the Old Marble stage.
When everything's coming up roses, I get suspicious. Even when I'm winning, I figure out I'm bound to fall. Why must I always feel like a loner in the end? When I know, sugar, you're my friend. Music rolls through hours like a shower in the spring. Sometimes good, sometimes ugly, like nightingales we sing. And the owner chases women if they're not on to his tricks. You can sit outside on Sundays at Rick's, and the girls strut by, the peacocks call. It's a evening dance, oh, for one and all. We just sit and watch and smile. Peacocks call. It's a evening dance, oh, for one and all. We just sit and watch and smile. Shot his fight in Frenchtown and a 15-year-old runs. No one even noticed this discharge of his gun. It's just another junkie with a monkey in his pipe, lying face down on the pavement, a dead stereotype. I am standing, I am standing, I am standing in the rain, but I am not clean. I am to blame.
Everybody cries, everybody dies, everybody
Can you hear me calling? Can you see me? Can you see me falling? Ooh, lucky us. Lucky us.
Your hand is on my knee, now the road is all I need to be free. We got no money left to lose, just the stars, the moon, and you, and the breeze. Ooh, lucky us. Ooh, lucky us. We got no plans to hold us back. All the luggage you could pack, just leave behind. Above us only sky, so let's make some room to fly, some love to find. Ooh, lucky us. Ooh, lucky us. And now the world is right, and now the world is right within our reach. And everything is just, and everything is just as it should be. Ooh, lucky us. Right now is all that we have left. Lay a worry down to rest. Tonight is everything. No one can stop us now. It's as good as we allow. Lift your face and sing. Ooh, lucky us. Ooh, lucky us. Ooh, lucky us. Ooh, lucky us.
There's another bit of the Old West that began down south right here in Florida, right here in Palm Beach County. It involves a young man named Samuel Colt. Now, when Samuel Colt was a teenager, he invented something that was really revolutionary at the time. It was a repeat fire weapon, a revolving 6-shot rifle. In his day and age, you had to be 21 to legally get a patent, so he had to wait until he was 21. He turned 21 in 1836, well before the Civil War. You read Civil War history and they make it sound like a repeat fire weapon. It's a great invention that just came along. But he got his patent in 1836, and by 1837 he was in production, and in that year he took his revolving rifle to the Ordnance Department in Washington, D.C., and tried to get the U.S. military to buy his revolving rifle. The Ordnance Department tested Samuel Colt's revolving rifle in 1837, and they came back to Samuel Colt that year and they said, it's too complicated a piece of machinery to be reliable in battle. The U.S. military will not buy it. The next year, 1838, Samuel Colt discovered what he considered a potential loophole in the ordnance laws of the United States. what those laws said was that a commander in a legally declared war zone could make emergency military purchases and bypass the Ordnance Department. But it had to be a legally declared war zone, one declared by Congress. Well, folks, there was only one legally declared war zone in 1838, and it was the state of Florida. It was what they at that time called the Florida Wars of Indian Removal, and the U.S. Army and Navy, because of the Everglades, were actively involved in those wars. More U.S. military soldiers died in the Seminole Indian Wars, as we call them, than died in all of the American Western Indian Wars combined. But 1,550 U.S. soldiers died in the Seminole Indian Wars. Well, in 1838, Samuel Colt took a small sailing ship with a load of his revolving rifles and sailed down to the mouth of the Loxahatchee River, to the first bend in the river where the U.S. Army at that time was building a temporary wooden stockade called Fort Jupiter. And he took his revolving rifle, he threw it into the river, took it out of the river, loaded all 6 chambers, fired it into a pine tree there at Fort Jupiter here in Palm Beach County in 1838. He demonstrated to the commander of the fort that, number one, it is reliable. I just took it out of the river, loaded it, and fired it. Number two, it sinks a bullet an inch deeper into the pine tree than the musket loaders you're using. And number three, and most important of all, it's a repeat fire weapon, 6 shots. Now, as you can imagine, because the Seminoles were armed, they did have guns. You can imagine that you're in a shootout with a Seminole Indian, and while he's reloading, you got 6 shots. You realize what a phenomenal military advantage that is. The commander of that fort, if you will, made the first purchase of the beginnings of the gun that won the West right here in Palm Beach County in 1838. I told that story a couple years back with some Seminole Indians, older Indians, and they do call themselves Indians, by the way, some older Seminoles in the tribe, friends of mine. And one of them came up to me later and he says, you know, that's the first time I've ever heard a white man tell that story. And he says, that's interesting because we still have a traditional story we tell in the tribe that we captured some of those revolving rifles. We laid them in a canoe, laid another canoe on top of it, and buried them like a coffin in the Everglades. And according to the story of our tribe, they're still there. And so it was kind of a nice affirmation of a real piece of Florida history.
Drive down to the ocean, waiting for a swim. Seagulls circle so closely, you feel like you're one of them. Sun warming your shoulders, cool breeze in your hair. If you're looking for heaven, you're already there. Florida, Florida, only the lucky can call her home. Florida, Florida, I'll always come back to you, no matter how far I roam. Sunrise on the water, sunset through the trees, not a cloud in your blue sky until we are in need. Gentle rain, mighty thunder, flowers bloom everywhere. If you're looking for heaven, you're already there. Florida, Florida, only the lucky can call her home. Florida, Florida, I'll always come back to you, If I'm lost, you will always lead me back home. We must work to protect her from those who would do her harm by abusing her water and destroying her charm. We don't need to keep building, we need more people who care. Stop looking for heaven, you're already there. Florida, Florida, only the lucky can call her home. Florida, Florida, I'll always come back to you, no matter how far I roam. Yes, I'll always come back to you, no matter how far I roam.
Luxury liner, 40 tons of steel. No one in this whole wide world knows the way I feel. I've been a long, lost soul for a long, long time. I've been around and everybody ought to know what's on my mind. I think I'm lonesome, so do I. Well, I'm the kind of guy that likes to make a living running round. But I don't need a stranger to tell me tons of steel. If I don't find my baby now, I guess I never will. I've been a long, lost soul for a long, long time. I've been around and everybody ought to know what's on my mind. Think I'm lonesome, so do I, so do I. Think I'm lonesome, so do I, so do I.
We'd like to do a little song. One of our very favorite songwriters, Mr. Steve Blackwell, down in Punta Gorda. And just before Steve left us, he gave us permission to do this song. And we'd like to do it at every festival we do, just in his honor and his memory. It's called Me and Bub. Won't you gather round and listen, and the story you will hear about an old Florida cowboy who was tough as any steer. Though his name was kind of fancy, Morgan Bonaparte myself, we all called him Mo, and it seemed to suit him well. Tennessee's got Davy Crockett, Kentucky's got Daniel Boone, Florida's got Bone myself, that man was Howard and the Moon. More than just a cracker cowboy who runs the hell and back. If he's anything less than legend, was Bunyan just a lumberjack? I used to ride the boat myself. I was right there by his side. I was even at the station in for an office when he died. They say legend and true, they don't always get along. And I know he's right beside me every time I sing this song. He'd go, get up by this, get yourself out of that sack. We've got miles and miles to ride. Then he'd get his whip crack. From Vernon we would ride 7 days, 10 to town. Get the cattle to the stockyard. Then we'd have a look around. Oh, we'd ride right to the tavern. As a matter of course, ride right up to the farm. Sit there drinking on his horse, drinking all that tiger moonshine, and sometimes just for thrills, he'd sit around and light cigars, use dollar bills. I used to ride with on myself. I was right there by his side. I was even at the station in for an auction when he died. They say legend and true, they don't always get along. And I know he's right beside me every time I sing this song. I used to ride a boat myself. I was was right there by his side. I was even at his station in front of the green eye. They say legend and truth, they don't always come. And I know he's right beside me every time I sing the song. Yes, I know he's right beside me, and he's been there all along.
Jeannie Fitchen has been a mainstay at the Florida Folk Festival for more than 50 years, since she was a very young girl. Her songs tell wide-eyed children about manatees, alligators, apple snails, and mosquitoes, while other songs tell stories about Ponce de Leon, pirates, Seminole Indians, and Acrefoot Johnson, Florida's earliest mailman. Jeannie's dedication to her art has earned many awards, including a 1999 Grammy nomination for her album Roads in the category of Best New Folk Album. For her long-standing contributions to the folk culture resources of the state, she received a Florida Folk Heritage Award in 2001. She was also honored with the Fellow Man and Mother Earth Award by the Stetson Kennedy Foundation in 2010. In recognition of her years performing as a Florida singer-songwriter and for her contributions to the Florida Folk Festival, Jeannie was inducted into the 2016 Florida Folk Festival's Legends and Legacy Hall of Fame. When asked why people should care about folk music, Fitchen says, "I think it allows people to reflect, and sometimes it compels people to make changes in their life or the world around them. There will never be another form of music like this." And we add, there will never be another Jeannie Fitchen, a truly unique performer devoted to Florida folk music, steeped in the tradition of past folk icons and Florida's diverse cultural history.
This is a song that's near and dear to my heart. Hope I can get through it. There's a grandmother that I know who had such a gift in her heart, in her hands. She was always making quilts for her friends and family. And one day, her little 5-year-old grandson, Matthew, stood before her and said, "Situ, won't you make me a quilt for my bed? I need one." Well, this grandmother was delighted. And together they picked out the pattern, which would be the little Dutch boy. And that meant that every block on that quilt would contain a little boy dressed in bibbed overalls, wearing a colorful shirt that was beautifully embroidered and appliqued. She gathered all of her supplies and began her work. But she wasn't feeling well, and over time she grew more tired until she ended up in the hospital having heart surgery. When she returned home, her body healed, but her spirit was just out there somewhere. Until little Matthew stood before her with his hands on his hips and he said, "Situ, aren't you ever going to finish my quilt? I need that." You would think that someone had put a fire into that grandmother, because she found her hands and she finished the quilt by Christmas of that year. Well, that little 5-year-old Matthew is my nephew, and he's going to be 30 years old this year. And that grandmother is my own mother. And I've spent many nights in my parents' home to be awakened in the middle of the night by the beautiful song of a mockingbird. And through the walls, I could hear my mother tossing and turning in her bed because she was planning that next project. Her mind was always active. And so I wrote this song For Matthew, for my mother, for you and me. Because there are times when we all lose our way. Just outside the window, beneath the pale moon's light, a bird song fills the starry sky, deep into the night. Rest will not come easy, no moment is one's own. The small bird calls to no one as she tenderly sings alone. And just inside the window, with her head upon the pillow, mother's eyes are open wide, deep into the night. Rest will not come easy to a mind that's never still. A fertile seed takes root and grows, strengthened by her will. Her heart is in her hand. With every piece of patchwork, a memory she will find. Plaids and stripes, flowers and leaves, an image comes to mind. Wedding rings and pine trees, bow ties and silver bells, cathedral windows and pinwheels, delectable mountains and shells. Her heart is in her hand. But on either side of the window, trouble dwells each day. The small bird halts and trembles, somehow loses her way. And the mother's world turns upside down like a storm-battered tree. Her kindly spirit had taken leave, like a ship gone out to sea. The small boy stands before her, holding out his hand. He stares into those vacant eyes, trying to understand how despair can bring surrender, a strange unwelcome hold, and words can fall with empty sound, so far away and cold. With loving arms he held hers, voice broke through the pain like the wind upon the tiny spark. She found her fire again. Sleep will not come easy when there's still so much to do. Stashing in blocks, borders and print, patterns, textures and hues. The Dutch boy dances across the bed
Well, I've heard Frank Thomas sing about Florida sand in his shoes. Read Will McLean's book. Even heard him sing a song or two. Now I'm sitting here this morning with my coffee cup in my hand, and I started thinking about this thing these folks call Florida sand. Now I know it can't be something that soap can wash away. Gotta be more than that. You believe just what they say. Is it the glow of an East Coast sunrise, or the quiet of a cypress strand, the grace of a southern bald eagle as he flares his wings to land? Is it a flock of wild turkeys leaving the roost at dawn, or the thrill of seeing a doe just running with her newborn fawn? Is it a lazy summer day spent on the riverbank with a cane pole in your hand, just waiting for a fish to give a yank? Is it an old country farmhouse built in the live oak trees and shaded by the midday sun and cooled by a friendly breeze? Is it the colors of a Gulf Coast sunset as the sun is setting low, or a full moon over an inland lake that turns the waters to gold? No, I believe it's a love of a green and fertile land that touches your very soul, this thing called Florida sand.
Veronica Jackson started her music career at an early age, singing in the school choirs at the age of 10. She was raised in a musically influenced family in St. Petersburg. In her teens, her love for acoustic folk and R&B music grew as she followed such artists as Odetta, Dolly Parton, Sweet Honey in the Rock, Joan Baez, Ella Fitzgerald, and later Diamond Teeth Mary, a blues performer who inspired many folk artists through her performances at the Florida Folk Festival. As an African-American woman, Veronica has combined the acoustic folk guitar with the history of her culture and has generated her own original, authentic, and exciting style of music, thrilling audiences across the U.S. and overseas.
Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow may bring. Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow may bring. You know it may bring sunshine, then again it may bring rain. Today, been a long, lonesome day. Today, been a long, lonesome day. I've been sitting here thinking with my mind a million miles away. Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow may bring. Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow may bring. You know it may bring sunshine, then again it may bring rain. Tell me, duet, what can it be? Tell me, duet, what can it be? Yeah, I'm loving everybody, but you keep hating on me. Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow may bring. Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow may bring. You know it may bring sunshine, then again it may bring rain. Today, 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 been a long, lonesome day. Today, 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 been a long, lonesome day. I've been sitting here thinking with my mind a million miles away. Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow may bring. Go down, sunshine, see what tomorrow may bring. You know it may bring sunshine, then again it may bring rain. You know it may bring sunshine, then again it may bring rain. Yeah, it may bring sunshine, then again it may bring rain.
Multi-instrumentalist John McEwen, one of the founding members of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, has shared his music and creative talents in many ways throughout his signature career. In September of 2017, Florida resident McEwen was inducted into the American Banjo Music Hall of Fame. McEwen's most important legacy may be his role in what Rolling Stone called the most important record to come out of Nashville, and what the 2004 Zagat survey called the most important record in country music. Will the Circle Be Unbroken? When the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band recorded Will the Circle Be Unbroken, a project initiated by McEwen, the icons of bluegrass, country, and West Coast country rock convened. Roy Acuff, Doc Watson, Merle Travis, Jimmy Martin, Earl Scruggs, Vassar Clements, and Maybelle Carter. Over 6 days in August 1971, 3 generations came together to produce the benchmark record relevant to this day. Still an Amazon Top 20, Will the Circle Be Unbroken is in the Grammy Hall of Fame. The Library of Congress inducted the multi-platinum Circle as one of the most important American recordings. Here, John McEwen shares his music and his memories.
Hi, I'm John McEwen. I wouldn't be here with this banjo if it wasn't for Mr. Pete Seeger. He came into my life with his red book, How to Play the 5-String Banjo. Taught me how to go. And I took that and I built a career on it, doing things like But there's one tune I'd like to play for you right now. This is a song that, came about from his earlier styles. It kind of sets up with, it's easy to play the banjo. That's an easy melody. It's easy to go. It's easy to go. Get the sound of the banjo. But do them all at once. This green corn, it was about the same time, around 1964 or 5, when Flatt & Scruggs put out the Best of the Carter Family, songs of the famous Carter Family album. And because of Pete Seeger and folk music and the whole thing happening, I got that album. It wasn't too long after that the Dirt Band had started. I got the nerve to ask Earl Scruggs to record with us. He said I'd be proud to. And Doc Watson, he came along at the same week. And 8 weeks after I asked that question, we started recording. But let me take you to the studio right now. Take you to the Circle B Unbroken sessions. Yeah, that's what it is. Let's go to the sessions and see what Maybelle had to say to a bunch of guys from Long Beach, California. She called us the Dirty Boys. Maybelle?
Of course, I guess.
Maybelle, you stay tuned like that for all the things we do.
I may do Wildwood Flower on the auto harp if y'all don't mind. I've never recorded it on the auto harp, and I've done it with the guitar about a dozen times. But and I do it in F standard, you know, and I probably did it in F standard key on the auto harp. And thinking tonight of my blue eyes, I'll have to do it at the same place. Yeah. And then I don't know what we'll do. Will a circle be unbroken? If everybody sings it, you just, you know, get the key that suits everybody.
Maybelle, do you remember the old ending you folks put on that thing?
I know I started on the old record, I started it like this.
There's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, may the sunny side always come to you. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all our way if we keep on the sunny side of life. Pick it, Maybelle. Oh, the storm and its fury grows today, crushing hopes that we all held so dear. Clouds and storms, in time they'll pass away. The sun again will shine bright and clear. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all our way if we keep on the sunny side of life.
With a distinctive voice and 12-string guitar technique, professional singer-songwriter Bob Patterson will take you on a trip through the real Florida, and it'll be filled with humor and folklore. His music will tie you to the land, to the plants and animals, to Florida's precious water, and to Florida's people. His poignant music and stories will evoke nostalgia for a way of life that's quickly fading.
So here's a little tune I wrote called Lullaby of the Rivers. It's song turned out to be a lot of fun for me. I had one of our principal of a school in Jacksonville heard the song, and she decided she wanted to teach it to the kids. She divided her school up where all the kids, the classes took the name of a river from the song. There's 14 of them, Native American names, and they studied each river through the whole school year, you know, and see ecology, all aspects of the river, including its present health. And at the end of the year, they won a nice little school award with it. So I have a little ongoing thing on Facebook, a GoFundMe account here. I'm trying to create a DVD that shows people how to create this program in their own schools. If I could only reuse time, I'd go back 100 years to a place where I could listen to the lullaby of the rivers, where now and then there will arise out of the waters Indian spirits to tell me how they got their names and sing the lullaby of the rivers. Ocklawaha, Itchituckney, you can find with the Coochie, Apalachicola, Wakulla, Wassizasilla, Caloosahatchee, Kissimmee, Ocklawaha, Choctawhatchee, the Kamalahatchee and the Swanee are singing lullaby of the rivers. Now if you have ears enough to listen, you know you can hear what they are saying. Oh, you can hear them all singing the lullaby of the rivers. The moving water makes the music, the pureness creates the healing, the reflections give up the secrets to the lullaby of the rivers. Ocklawaha, Itchituckney, you can find with the Coochie, Apalachicola, Wakulla, Wassizasilla, Caloosahatchee, Kissimmee, Ocklawaha, Choctawhatchee, the Kamalahatchee and the Swanee are singing lullaby of the rivers. There were those who came before us. You know they called this place Blackwater. They knew their lives were mirrored so completely in the water. Our rivers are telling us those stories full of wildness and mystery, because our lives flow as rivers do to the lullaby of the rivers. Ocklawaha, Itchituckney, you can find with the Coochie, Apalachicola, what color? Wild scissor silver. Hachi Kissimmee, Akhlaki Choctahatchee, Econola and the Swanee singing lullaby on the rivers. Aklawaha, Yetchatachni, Econfina with Lakuchi, Apalachicola, what color? Wild scissor silver, Hachi Kissimmee, Akhlaki Choctahatchee, Econola and the Swanee singing lullaby on the rivers.
The Peyton brothers first performed at the Florida Folk Festival in 1977 and have made numerous appearances over the last 40 plus years. Originally from Jacksonville, the four brothers, John, Dan, Michael, and Lee, are still performing around the state, and they're now frequently joined by Lee's son, Grant. Their performances feature fancy picking, four-part harmonies, and lots of fun.
I'm Dan Peyton with the Peyton Brothers. My brothers John, Michael, and Lee and I first performed at the Florida Folk Festival in 1977. We've been back many times since, and we'll be back again in 2021, hoping to reunite with a lot of old friends and meet some new friends. In the meantime, we hope you all be safe and continue to support our Florida folk traditions. Here's a song we recently performed in Jacksonville. We hope to see you soon.
Now look at the trouble I'm in. Now she The more that I cry, the faster that train flies, farther on down the track. Crying won't bring her back. The more that I cry, the faster that train flies, farther on down the track. Farther on down the track. Farther on down the track.
Ben Prestige has music in his blood. His great-grandmother was a professional musician who toured the American vaudeville circuit opening shows for Al Jolson. His grandmother was a boogie-woogie pianist. For years, folk festival fans have flocked to the stages where Ben appears. His multi-award-winning Deep South swamp music melds various blues styles, and his one-man band show has been seen from Beale Street in Memphis to countries around the world.
She got a swing in her hip. Every little thing gonna make my mind slip into confusion, spinning around. Make me lay my mojo down. Cutest little girl I've ever seen. If you ever seen the girl, know how much got away. Her disposition fits me like a glove I can't explain. Falling hard on down a hurricane's driving rain on my heart. She's got a hold, got a lead on my soul. Cutest little girl I've ever seen. If you ever seen the girl, know how much got away.
confusion spinning around. Make me lay my mojo down. Kiss the girl I never seen. If you ever seen the girl, know what I mean, she got way. Thank you so much.
This song is about another endangered species in Florida, the old Florida cracker, Florida cowman. We always call them cowmen in Florida. Cow hunters, that's another term. They used whips, and they'd pop that whip and make it crack, and that's how the term Florida cracker came into being. His beard may be stubble like a cut over sugar cane field. His clothes may be dirty, but the look in his eyes lets you know he won't yield. He's from a breed that is...
Born in 1943 and raised in Clay County, Frank J. Thomas is a native Floridian whose ancestors came to Florida in the 18th century. His family's direct connection with the land, his strong Florida heritage, and his love of Florida's history inspires much of his music. Frank was strongly influenced, at a very young age, by listening to the Grand Ole Opry and artists such as Hank Williams Sr. on a battery-powered radio in his childhood home in Middleburg, Florida. Frank's entire family played music, and he grew up singing gospel at home and in church. He went on to tour nationally with several well-known gospel, bluegrass, and country groups, including the Taylor Brothers, the Webb Family, and the Arkansas Travelers, as a frontman and rhythm guitarist. He later returned to Florida, where he was influenced by singer-songwriter Will McLean and strongly encouraged by his wife Ann, who was also a prolific songwriter, to write songs about his beloved home state. Frank has written many songs about Florida and has recorded a number of albums. Together, Frank and Ann produced and hosted a weekly singer-songwriter radio show that was nationally syndicated on NPR. They were participants in the Florida Humanities Council's Speakers Bureau and traveled Florida performing their music at schools, festivals, music and folk clubs, on television, and on concert stages. Though Ann Thomas passed away in 2004, Frank continues to share Florida history through song. Thomas has been a regular fixture at the Florida Folk Festival for decades and has inspired many songwriters to write about Florida's history, environment, and colorful characters. Some refer to him as the Dean of Florida folk music because over the years, he has given hundreds of assignments to songwriters to write about some of the lesser-known events in the state's history. Frank J. Thomas continues the rich tradition of passing on Florida history through storytelling and song, and still resides at his home, known as the Cracker Palace, in rural Polk County, Florida.
And space shuttles fly, and the old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passing by.
Hello, I'm Donald Forgione, a longtime employee with the Florida Park Service, a longtime performer at the Florida Folk Festival, but most of all, a longtime friend of Frank J. Thomas, who passed away on September 9th, 2020, at the age of 77. Born and raised in Clay County, Florida, Frank's Florida legacy dates back to the 18th century. Sharing his love of Florida was the inspirational thread woven throughout his music and storytelling. Frank was considered one of the most prolific songwriters in Florida with a catalog of over 500 songs, and they're all about Florida. In the 60s, Frank toured nationally with several well-known gospel, bluegrass, and country music groups. During the 80s, Frank and Ann produced and hosted the Florida Folk Music Radio Show on Tampa's WMNF and hosted the River Gazebo stage at the Florida Folk Festival for many years. Most recently, Frank frequently performed with his wife Lisa at his side. His video, Florida History and Song, won the Florida Historical Society's coveted Golden Quill Award. Other awards received by Frank include the prestigious Florida Heritage Award, the inaugural Jillian Prescott History Award, the Stetson Kennedy Foundation Fellow Man and Mother Earth Award, and has been inducted into the Florida Artist Hall of Fame. Behind me is an origin herd of Florida cracker cows at Paynes Prairie Preserve State Park in Micanopy, Florida. Frank's song, Old Cracker Cowman, is a tribute to Florida's pioneers who would gather these Spanish-descended cows in Florida's scrub and herd them to market. In the video, Frank is playing a brand new guitar that he was looking forward to playing at this year's festival. There are plenty of other videos of Frank playing this song, but we wanted to make sure he got to play his new guitar at the 68th Annual Florida Folk Festival. While his accomplishments were certainly legendary, a humble Frank Thomas always described himself as, "I ain't nothing extra," but he will always be something extra to the Florida Folk Festival. Here is Frank Thomas singing his song, Old Cracker Cowman.
Beard may be stuck like a cut ocean cane tree. His clothes may be dirty, but the look in his eyes lets you know he won't eat. He's from a breed that has died. He has survived. The world he once knew is gone. He's an old cracker cowman, existing a long way from home. And dirt bikes stream over land that used to be scrub cow trail. Interstate highways have taken the place of old Mr. Flagler's rails, and condos rise from the land, and space shuttles fly, and the old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passed him by. Old Bone myself, he's gone, but the legend lives on. Jake Summerlin and old Sam King, beginning and ending of an era now gone. Men like Doc Norman somehow let the bottle get them down. These old Florida cowboys are like eagles tied to the ground. And dirt bikes scream over land that used to be scrub cow trail. The interstate highways have taken the place of old Mr. Flagler's rails, and condos rise from the land, and space shuttles fly, and the old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passed them by. No, these old cracker cowmen don't know how it all passed him by.
Thank you for joining us for the virtual 68th Annual Florida Folk Festival. The Florida Folk Festival takes place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of Memorial Day weekend every year. Join us now in recognizing Memorial Day and remembering everyone who has died while serving in the American Armed Forces with Florida Artist Hall of Fame member Billy Dean.
The empty chair up against the bar, a cold beer and a purple heart, a picture of a soldier that I never knew. It's just another vacation day for most of us on Memorial Day, but not for that KIA and dress blues. And I got to thinking to myself, that's someone's brother, someone's son, a life cut short that just begun. A model soldier, a Marine down to the core. He got the call, he did his part, but the part that breaks my heart, he has to rest in peace on some forgotten shore. Maybe I can do a little more to be an American worth dying for. An ice chest and a fishing pole, a beach blanket and my 8-year-old. He said, Dad, this is the best day of my life. I took a breath and I said a prayer. Daddy never goes over there. In that moment I felt the weight of the sacrifice. Someone's daughter, someone's son, a life cut short that just begun. I can't go back now to the man I was before. They got the call, they did their part, but the part that breaks my heart, they have to rest in peace on some forgotten shore. And maybe I can do just a little more to be an American worth dying for. Worth dying for. Worth dying for. They got the call, they did their part, but the part that breaks my heart, they have to rest in peace on some God-forsaken shore. Maybe I can do just a little more to be an American worth dying for. Worth dying for. Worth dying for. Empty chair up against the bar, a cold beer and a Purple Heart.
Thank you, Sergeant Ennis.